What's up guys, my name is Faizan. Amjed. Turn your boring images into 3D scene. It's very easy to create in DaVinci Resolve. First, import your image in timeline and export a 5-second clip. Go to deliver page and render your video. Now go to runway ML, go to AI tools and select extract depth map. Upload your video that we exported from DaVinci Resolve right here. Once you have your video, process the depth map. Now we can click here to export this depth map. We can select the format and we can select the resolution. Now we can click here to export this depth map. Now once you export the depth map, go to the assets, select your clip and click here to download your clip. Now we have the depth map. We can close runway ML, go to edit page, import your depth map. So now we have the depth map. I'm going to import this in my timeline, delete the audio, select these two, right click and create a new fusion clip. Now go to the fusion page. Now we can delete these two merge node, delete the background, click the media in one, press 1 on the keyboard and as you can see this is the image. If I select this, press 1 on the keyboard, this is the depth map. So now I'm going to drag this image plane because I'm going to convert this image into 3D. If we select the image plane, press 1 on the keyboard, as you can see now we have the 3D space. Now I'm going to also drag the render because without the render 3D node, we can't really connect the image plane 3D. Now I'm going to also drag the merge 3D node and I'm going to connect these two. And as you can see now we have the 3D scene. Now I'm going to also add the camera, connect the camera to merge 3D. So if I click here to the blue point, as you can see now we have the 3D space. Now this is not a 3D scene. This is a simple zoom in and zoom out effect. So in order to add a 3D scene, we have to select the depth map. I'm going to select these two, drag them right here. Now press shift plus space and search for the effect called displace 3D. I'm going to select the displace 3D node, press shift, hold the shift key and drag this in between these two nodes. So now we have this node connected between these two nodes. Now I'm going to connect my media in 2, which is the depth map, to displace 3D and check this out. Now if I press the alt key, use the mouse scroll and drag this right here, I'm going to select the depth map. As you can see now we have this effect. Press 1 on the keyboard, so now we can clearly see. So now as you can see we have this depth map. Now we can also refine the depth map even more. So I'm going to drag this brightness and contrast node between these two nodes. I'm going to press 1 on the keyboard and as you can see we can increase or lower the lift, increase the gain, lower the gamma, increase the contrast, and as you can see if I press 1 on the keyboard, select displace 3D, check this out, press alt key and now we have this 3D scene. We can simply select the camera. We can select this point, which is the blue point, drag the camera to the starting position. So now we can drag the camera and we can place the camera to the position where we want the zoom to happen. So I'm going to start my zoom from this position because if we drag this back, as you can see now we have out of the frame. So go to the transform and we can transform this to Z position right. Now I'm going to add a keyframe in Z and in Y translation of the camera node and go to the 60th frame. I'm going to click here and I'm going to drag this right here. And now if we go to this spline, we can refine, we can smooth the keyframe animation even more. Go to the end position, press O on the keyboard, enable the loop. If I play the clip, as you can see we have this zoom. Now we can go to the fusion. We can go to the render 3D, go to the settings and we can also enable motion blur. So as you can see, if we go to the zoom in effect, if I disable this, as you can see right here, let's change the single screen. As you can see right here, we have the motion blur. So you can enhance the visual of your scene by enabling the motion blur. Now we can take this scene to the next level by adding the depth of field. So to add the depth of field, we have to select the render 3D, go to the control, and we have to change the software render to hardware render. Now as you can see we have the new effect called accumulation effect. So if we enable this effect, as soon as we enable this effect we have this blur on the screen. So now we have to select the focal plane. So I'm going to select my camera. Now we have to go to the control visibility, we have to check focal plane. So this is the focus of this camera. So the camera is focusing on the green screen, which we have this right here. Now as you can see we can change the position of this focal plane. If you smoothly change the position of the focal plane, then we have to uncheck accumulation effect because this is the strong effect. It is affecting the machine. So that is why we have the slow render. So now we can easily change the focal plane as well. So now I'm going to place my focal plane. So click here, press Control. So now we can change the focus to about right here. And as you can see, we have to focus on the ground. And now check this. Now I'm going to go to the render 3D, enable the accumulation effect. And once you enable this effect, so as you can see, we have to push this focal plane even further. So I'm going to uncheck this, go to the camera. I'm going to push this further to about right here. When the focal plane intersect with your scene, then it means you are in focus. So I'm going to place my focal plane to about right here because it is now intersecting with the scene of my image 3D. So I'm going to select render 3D, check accumulation effect, and this time hopefully we will get the focus. And as you can see right here, we have the focus. If I press Ctrl zoom in, we have the focus right here. So I'm going to lower my amount of depth of field to about 0.09, press enter, change the quality to about 20, change my amount of depth of field to about 0.05. Let's change it to 0.0, maybe 2. Now check this out. 0.01, change this to 25. And now we have the focus. So I'm going to select my camera. We have the last keyframe right here. So I'm going to first of all uncheck accumulation effect to avoid the slow render. So I'm going to uncheck accumulation effect. Click here. This time I'm going to animate my focal plane. So I'm going to add a keyframe right here. Go to the first frame and I'm going to place my focal to about here. Now go to this spline. We have the focal. Click here. We can select these two keyframes, smooth the keyframe as well. Now enable accumulation effect, change this to single screen, and now we can preview the scene. So I rendered my video and here we have the preview. As you can see, we have this fake depth of field. We have this beautiful scene. Now you can enhance your scene even more by adding the 3D text and light to your scene. Now we have this example, and like the previous example, we have the simple zoom effect. But if we go to the render 3D, if I enable lighting and shadow, by the way, you can also go to your image plane 3D. If you don't want lighting and shadow to affect your image, you can go to the control, go to image plane 3D, uncheck affected by lights, and it won't affect your scene. Now I added a 3D text, so I'm going to enable my 3D text. I'm going to press 1 on the keyboard, and as you can see, we have the 3D text. I'm going to select my merge 3D, press 1 on the keyboard. We have the scene. I set my 3D text right here, and we have the simple zoom in effect. So after I enable all the lights, as you can see, we have this effect. Check this out. We have this light, we have this text, and we have this effect. So this way you can even enhance your scene more by adding light and 3D text to your scene. So I hope you get the value from this video. If you want to see more, then subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.